Really.
Sort of a Groucho Marx saying you don't want to be a member of a club that
Believe
would have
me, you will be reading on air my angry email about the fact that you had me on.
How does it feel to be in the belly of the beast? Is
this the belly?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize you were in the belly. I thought there was a slightly different appendage that was down here, but this is nice. This is, I told you as I first came in, beautifully climate controlled, an ease of parking for a New Yorker. This is...
have you gotten validated yet?
I got my parking, let me see if I still have it. I got my parking validated. I will ask you this, and I don't know if this is a metaphor for Washington bureaucracy, but if somebody here could explain to me why New York Avenue becomes Massachusetts Avenue for no apparent reason without making a turn, I would really appreciate that.
We're not allowed to tell you that. Now, you love to take shots.
Do I have typhoid now? What did you do to me?
No.
All right.
You might want a little more, but...
Are you suggesting you're impressed with how well I describe things, or I'm not sure what you like the explicit and specific nature of it?
Well, here's the deal.
I think you are. Fox News is much more reactive in the sense that even somewhat like my show. You know, the idea. I guess I would say this: MSNBC is attempting that. I think they're attempting. They've looked. But do you really? So you believe that Fox News is exactly the ideological equivalent of NBC News?
I think we're the counterweight.
You believe that?
I think that they have a liberal agenda, and I think we tell the other side of the story. But since this is my show, I'm asking the question.
You're absolutely right. I apologize.
Sarah Palin.
But I won't get my parking unvalidated.
No. You're going to get out of here for free.
Here for
absolutely,
free.
Such a deal.
All right. You're a good man.
You made fun of the. You don't think maybe they went a little easier on the Obama health care bill?
Oh, I think they went easier on the Obama health care bill in the same way they went easier on the Levin-Coburn financial disaster study. I think that the emails, they're in Twitter type, so it's a lot easier to go through. B, it's light fluff, so it's absolutely laziness.
Well, okay.
So if your suggestion is it's purely about it, you've proved very little by suggesting that the Sarah Palin emails were
just getting
embraced.
Started.
No, I appreciate that.
You take your own shot.
I'm a comedian.
All right.
And my comedy is informed by ideology. There's no question about that. But I'm not an ideologue.
I want to thank you for saying that because... Well, let me
but it is comedy first. But let me
Can I give you another example?
No, because I want to deal with
example.
This. Let's deal with it.
Let's
talk about it.
I'm going to do that.
I want to find out why you say that.
Here's your take on GOP presidential candidate Herman Cain.
My voice heard? Absolutely. That's why I got into comedy.
I mean,
you're not
Jerry Seinfeld.
No, I do comedy. What am I at my highest aspiration? Who am I?
I think.
Am I Edward R. Murrow or am I Mark Twain? At my highest aspiration.
Oh, of those two, Mark Twain.
Right.
But
so has
Mark
that existed?
Twain had a lot of political impact.
But was that his main thrust? Am I an activist in your mind? Okay, then I disagree with you.
Okay.
I absolutely disagree with you that that's the case.
I think you're pushing.
And I don't think.
And I think you take shots at although I think it's mostly to maintain credibility and you're not as comfortable with it, you take shots at Obama and at the liberals. You like to make fun of conservatives.
You can't understand other places because they receive marching orders. And if you want me to go through Bill Salmon's emails and...
how do you explain me?
Oh, I think you do...
This isn't you. This is the mainstream media.
Okay.
Because we look for examples of liberal bias, of no partisan agenda. I'm
not suggesting there's no liberal bias in the media, but you're suggesting that there is an equivalence of Fox News and ABC. And I think that's absolutely silly.
Here's Diane Sawyer.
All right.
Diane Sawyer...
But I don't understand how that's partisan. And I don't think...
You don't think it's partisan to bash the Arizona law and to mischaracterize what it did?
First of all, if that's a bash, then that is the mildest form of bash. It's a form of subtle misinformation. Let me tell you exactly...
Can I give you another example?
No. Let me just jump in real quick.
When did this dumping our show?
You can give me another example when I give you my feeling about the context of what that is. Yesterday, there was the Weiner press conference. Every single one of the 24-hour news networks. 24-hour news networks are built for one thing, and that's 9/11. And the type of, gigantic news event, that the type of apparatus that exists in this building and exists at the other 24 news hours is perfectly suited to cover. In the absence of that, they're not just going to say there's not that much that's urgent or important or conflicted happening today. So we are going to gin up. We are going to bring forth more conflict and more sensationalism because we want you to continue watching us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even when the news doesn't necessarily warrant that type of behavior. So here's my example of what news bias is in my mind. 3 networks, Fox, CNN, MSNBC, are going live to the Nancy Pelosi news conference because they are sure, coming on the heels of Anthony Weiner resigning, that she is going to make some sort of incredible statement about, I'm disappointed in Anthony Weiner about it. So they're all locked on it. And the whole time there's hand-wringing. Oh, I can't believe we got to go and do this. The American people don't care about this. They care about jobs. They care about the economy. That's what the American people care about. We're about to go live to Speaker Pelosi. She's about to do that. She steps up to the podium and says what? I'm not going to comment about Anthony Weiner. I'm going to talk about jobs, and I'm going to talk about the economy. And what did everybody do?
Left.
So what's your proof again about the partisan agenda and what I do? That's the embarrassment. The embarrassment is that I'm given. That is where
You're the counterbalance to that.
No.
Do you know that I had to go through to prepare for this? I had to go through episodes of South Park. I had to see Cartman's Mom is a Slut, parts 1 and 2.
Can I tell you something
I had to look at Reno 911.
Can I tell you something about those guys? They are brilliant guys. The South Park guys are brilliant guys, and their ability to satirize.
Okay, but the next time you're sitting there haranguing Fox, just remember, that's where you work.
No, I completely agree with. I don't even know what you're talking about. Are you suggesting you and I are the same? That's what I'm trying to get my head around.
No, I'm not suggesting we're the same.
So why should I work?
I am suggesting that there's good stuff and bad stuff. I'm suggesting that there is bias and that you only tell part of the story. You're pushing more of an agenda than you pretend to.
I disagree with you. I think that I'm pushing comedy, and my ideological agenda informs it at all times. Now, that agenda or my ideology is at times liberal, at times can lean more conservative, but it's about absurdity. That is the agenda that we push. It is an anti-corruption, anti-lack of authenticity. It's anti-contrivance. And if I see that more in one area than I do in another, well then, but I will defend every single thing that we put on that show. And I'm not dodging you in any way by suggesting that our main thrust is comedic. And that
I will defend everything that we put on this show. I want to ask you a couple of final questions.
By the way, though, did you really have to watch all those South Parks? Because they are funny.
Well, okay.
Those guys are brilliant.
I disagree with you again.
Oh, really?
Are you disappointed in Barack Obama as president? Did you see anybody on that stage who you could envision voting for against Obama?
That debate, to me, focused, is very hard to say. Because right now they're still in red meat mode. And so when I see a debate that still focuses so much on, gay marriage and don't ask, don't tell, and the types of things where, I tend to glaze over. And I thought that in general.
But he would have been a great 4 or 8 years as president for you.
Dukakis?
Right in your wheelhouse. Dukakis.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't a comedian per se at that time, but, if that's the barometer of whether or not I'm an ideological warrior, and I think that's what you're suggesting, is that an ideological warrior is someone that will not vote against party. I mean, again, I'm not exactly sure. I assume that part of this is to delegitimize criticism against Fox by suggesting that it's taken seriously. I've existed forever. The box that I exist in has always been around. The change is the box that you've moved closer to me. But I'd like to know what I'm doing that's really different than what you've seen previously from satirical comedians that work in the political milieu. What is different about it that makes you so perplexed?
I'm not saying I'm perplexed.
You're trying to figure out what I am. What am I?
What I'm trying to say is that all I wanted to do, you make it sound like I'm trying to delegitimize you to defend Fox. What is the purpose of trying to... That assumes a kind of, and this is where I think you're wrong. To go easy on that.
I believe that the counterweight to Fox is attempting to be here's what I think. That the mainstream media that you so deride, I also deride. But we deride it for very different reasons. I deride the mainstream media because of their focus on sensationalism and conflict. And you deride them because you think they're relentlessly partisan. And I just disagree with that. I think that there is a...
I just want to say, because we got to go.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I accept your...
Oh, really? You just have to talk to Secretary of Defense Gates? Is that really... Oh, you probably already did. I forgot. I meant it's Sunday.
I accept your apology.